Girl, is Nicki Minaj really about to get arrested for smacking the heck out of her manager? Nicki's ex-manager is suing her because, according to him, he was so terrified after Nicki put her hands on him that he had to hide in the toilet. But it looks like the guy is so salty that he's not going to rest until Nicki gets arrested and faces criminal charges for what she did to him, allegedly. Guess when you get married and have a baby with an ex-con, it doesn't take that long for his criminal ways to start rubbing off on you. So Nicki Minaj recently got sued by her former manager, Brandon Garrett, for allegedly striking him during her tour. Brandon was working as Nicki's day-to-day manager during her Pink Friday 2 tour last year. He claims Nicki sent him on an errand after her April concert in Detroit, and when he got back, he was summoned to her dressing room. Nicki allegedly started grilling Brandon and other members of her team about their job responsibilities. According to Brandon, she flew into a rage when she learnt that Brandon had once sent someone else to pick up one of her prescriptions. Nicki then allegedly started screaming at him, and she said, "Are you effing crazy having him pick up my prescription? You have lost your effing mind, and if my husband were here, he would knock out your effing teeth. You're a dead man walking. You just effed up your whole life, and you will never be anyone. I'll make sure of it." Brandon claimed Nicki kept screaming at him and told him his life was over before striking him on the right side of his face with an open hand. Apparently, she hit him so hard that his head snapped back and his hat flew off his head. Nicki's security team then allegedly closed in on Brandon, and he claimed Nicki struck him on his right wrist, knocking the documents in his hand to the floor. Brandon claimed that at this point, Nicki told him to get the F out, and he grabbed his hat and scurried out the room. And get this, he was so shaken by the whole encounter that he had to go lock himself in a restroom at Little Caesars Arena to get himself together. As he was there, he noticed that his wrist was throbbing and his face was sore. While he was in the restroom, he called his fiancée to let her know what happened, and he stayed locked in that restroom for the rest of the day out of fear for his safety. What's crazy is that Brandon claimed Nicki's team didn't let him back on the tour bus back to the tour's base in Chicago, so he was basically stranded in Detroit. So he's suing Nicki for battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And he's going after her pockets too, though we don't know how much he's asking for. Now, to be fair, it kind of makes sense that Nicki would crash out about someone she didn't authorize handling her meds. She could have been treating something she didn't want the public to know about, or she could be afraid of getting poisoned or something. Plus, we don't know who exactly Brandon sent to get the meds, but there's probably some security risk there too. We get it. But flipping out to the point where you start putting your hands on someone, now that's crazy, because the case involved possible criminal offenses. It ended up in the prosecutor's office. Next thing you know, there's talks of Nicki getting arrested for and a bunch of other related offenses. But get this isn't the only time Nicki has had brushes with police. Back in May of 2024, Nicki got arrested and detained in Amsterdam for allegedly carrying after she arrived in the Netherlands to begin the Europe part of her Pink Friday 2 World Tour. So, it all started after Nicki arrived at the Amsterdam airport to catch her flight to Manchester for her next Pink Friday 2 show. Next thing she knew, she was being asked to get into a police vehicle because she was apparently carrying pre-rolls in her luggage. The police told her that although they had already searched her bags before, they suspected that she had more things than she was letting on. So they had to do another thorough search of her luggage.
What did they say?
Second,
Tell me again.
the police officer told me we have to offload all the luggage
Okay.
and to search everything
Okay.
of your luggage. I'm so sorry to say that.
But isn't that what you planned on doing from the get-go? Why didn't you guys search it before it went on the plane?
Anyway, it would turn out that the police thought the amount of Zaza with her seemed like she wasn't taking it just for her own enjoyment, that she was taking it to maybe sell or something, and they weren't having it. The whole time, Nicki was spiraling online because she believed there was some sort of sinister plan by some people to get her not to perform in Manchester.
They just said I have to get in this van and go to the precinct with them, with no lawyer present. To make a statement with no lawyer present. After the pre-rolls they found from bags that they were not authorized to take, that we did not know what they took, and we asked for our bags back. And after, the security said, oh, those pre-rolls are his. They're telling me I have to go to the police precinct. Simply because, well, you know what? We'll get into that later.
Hey, open it.
By the way, the Manchester show did end up getting cancelled because Nicki was detained for hours, so she couldn't make it there on time. She also had to pay a fine of €350 before the case got dismissed. Now, according to Nicki, this whole thing was good old racism at play, because even after she told them the stuff didn't belong to her, they still continued searching her bags. She said, now they said they found and that another group of people have to come here to weigh the pre-rolls. Keep in mind they took my bags without consent. My security has already advised them those pre-rolls belong to him. Oh yeah, and the pilot wants me to take my IG post down. So someone replied, they found and have to weigh it in a country where it's legal. Amsterdam, really. And Nicki said, and the people who weigh it ain't here. Told you it's to try and make me late so they can write negative stories. Jealousy is a disease. You know the rest. We don't know what exactly made them decide to do another random search of Nicki's things, but you can't really blame them for not believing her saying the weed belonged to her security guard. Like, of course, she'd make someone else take the fall for it if she thought she was about to get in trouble, but Nicki was convinced someone wanted to sabotage her. She said, Barbs, I'm at Stock Exchange Hotel in Manchester. I arrived a little over an hour ago after sitting in a jail cell for 5 to 6 hours. My plane still didn't take off for another 20 minutes once I boarded. The flight was 50 minutes. 50 minutes. That's why they had to do the big song and dance, because they knew I'd still find a way to perform, even if it came down to my last 90 minutes in the building, which would have been until 11:30 p.m. The building was willing to go past 11 p.m. So grateful to them for that. So they succeeded at their plan to not let me get on stage tonight. I succeeded at getting to the root of it all by recording them and posting everything in real time. I have so much video evidence. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. I'll have the lawyers and God take it from here though. When the news that Nicki was getting sued broke, rumors started flying around that it probably had something to do with her putting Jay-Z and Rock Nation on blast recently because of the whole Lil Wayne and Super Bowl situation. For context, Kendrick got selected to headline the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, which is being held in New Orleans. As you guys know, Jay-Z is in partnership with the Super Bowl, so he's indirectly in charge of selecting which artists headline the Super Bowl halftime show. Since Lil Wayne is from New Orleans and Lil Wayne, everyone thought he'd be the one to headline the halftime show. So when Kendrick got the gig, a lot of people thought Wayne was robbed. Nicki took it upon herself to call Jay-Z out, and she accused him of being jealous, using Kendrick to settle score, and robbing her in her deal with Tidal. It was really messy. Like, girl, Nicki has been messy all year. Of course, Nicki denied all the allegations Brandon made against her through her lawyer, Judd Burstein. In a statement to TMZ, the lawyer, Judd Burstein, said, at this time, no complaint has been served upon Mrs. Petty, and therefore we are unaware of the specific allegations. However, if the lawsuit is as reported by TMZ, it is completely false and frivolous. We are confident that the matter brought by this ex-assistant will be resolved swiftly in Mrs. Petty's favor. The only silver lining to this case is that right now, at least, Nicki gets to tuck Papa Bear in at night since she's not getting arrested yet. Apparently, the warrant the cops requested was denied. A spokesperson for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office told TMZ that they reviewed the warrant request from the Detroit Police Department but have chosen to deny it due to insufficient evidence proving a crime had been committed. This doesn't mean Nicki is completely off the hook. The case is still being investigated, and Brandon Garrett is definitely not backing down now. At least until further investigation is done, Nicki can rest easy, knowing she's not getting arrested soon, or at least that's what any other person would do. But you'll know Nicki loves nothing more than ranting and spiraling on the internet. Apparently, she's freaking out because if this moves forward and gets really investigated, investigated, it's not going to end well for her. People have left their 2 cents on this. Like this person who said, "This is so sad. It's very immature of Nicki Minaj. She made her choice, and that was to put her hands on someone, which is against the law. She did the crime, and if the punishment is jail time, she should go sit down and do the time. Maybe, just maybe, she will make better choices afterwards. No one should be above the law, no matter how much money they have." Another person said, "She got with this husband of hers and has been nothing but a menace. Just goes to show, watch who you sleep with, their demons become yours and vice versa. Isn't she too old to be living this thug life all of a sudden?" But what do you guys think? Is Nicki just in a rough patch right now? Or do you think all this somehow has something to do with her husband? Comment down below and then check out this next video.